I'm putting together a new pedal board, 5 pedals, all from Walrus Audio, and you're gonna help me choose them. Let's get into it. So I thought it would be fun to put together a pedal board that was all pedals from Walrus Audio. I want to have 5 pedals, and I want your input into which pedals I should choose. Now, since I'm going to put 5 pedals on the board, I want at least 2 of them to be gain stages. It could be a fuzz, a overdrive, a distortion, a boost. At least 2 of them need to be gain stages. And then no more than 4 can be gain stages. I don't want a completely overdrive, distortion, fuzz pedal board. I'd like there to be at least 1 modulation pedal in there. I'm hoping that if you're watching this video, you're willing to tell me at least 1 pedal from Walrus Audio that you think should be on this board, and preferably how you think I should use it. Is there a unique way that you use your delay pedal? Do you like to run your modulation pedal into an overdrive? And if so, which modulation pedal? And how is it set? I'm going to take all of your input under advisement and then come back with the full pedal board, all 5 pedals, and do a reveal of which ones I chose. Is there a certain style I'm going after? No, not really. I would like it to be versatile. I really like everything from Jimi Hendrix, John Frusciante, and John Mayer, all the way to things like, well, let's just say Mark Tremonti from Alter Bridge. I really enjoy that full spectrum of music. I have some down-tuned guitars, I have a baritone guitar, and so to sit down and just have some fun in a lower tuning with some heavier distortion, all the way to just having some cleaner, light breakup, crispy blues stuff, I would enjoy all of that. I even enjoy messing around with atmospheric sounds. So the world is our oyster. We're gonna dive into this and see what Walrus Audio has to offer and choose some pedals. Please comment down below if there's a pedal that you think I should choose, and then what uses you would recommend for it. I'm gonna do a quick rundown here of basically all Walrus Audio's pedals that are currently being offered. Besides asking everyone here on YouTube, I'm also going to ask the Walrus Audio Facebook group for some input as well. So let's start off this discussion with their delays and reverb. First off, we have the Lure, which is described as a soundscape generator. It has 5 different programs built into it, and they're all built around reverbs and reverse delays. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun, and I'm very interested in checking this pedal out. There's also the Fathom. This one is a bit more traditional. It has 4 different reverbs. It has Hall and Plate, but then it also has Lo-Fi and then a sonar setting as well. The sonar has a high and a low octave that you can dial in to taste. Should the Slotva go on this 5-pedal Walrus Audio pedal board? It has 3 settings: the octave down setting, the rise setting, which provides an auto swell of reverb, the timing of which can be adjusted so that you can determine how quickly the reverb swells into the sound that you're playing. Lastly, there's a dream function which provides it's described as a lush reverb that you can latch, allowing the sound to perpetuate forward, and then your signal without the reverb from the Slotva plays on top of it. So if you want to do something with more overdrive, but you didn't want the Slotva to lock that overdrive into the pad, this is an opportunity to add that overdrive or some delay and then play on top of that pad that you've locked in with the Slotva. Then there's the Mako R1, which is a reverb pedal. It has spring, hall, plate, and then also has something called BFR, which is described as a rich and lush decay reverb that's similar to hall, but also with a cavernous aspect. It has a refract option, which adds a glitchy effect over the reverb. And then it has a setting called Air, which is described as a large diffused reverb with subtle shimmer. You can save 9 presets, which makes it very flexible. And there's also a sustain and latching feature. Next, you have the Mako D1, which is a delay. It has digital delay, modulated delay, which has an unpredicted pitch modulation. There's a vintage delay sound, and then a dual delay, which imposes 2 delay signals basically, but under different time signatures, both going at the same time. And then of course it also has reverse delay, which reads the delay memory backwards. This pedal of course comes with tap tempo, and you can change the time signature subdivisions of the repeats. Next you have the Descent, which is an octave reverb. It has hall, reverse, shimmer, and they all have adjustable reverb time. The ARP87 is another one of their delays. It has an analog sound, a digital sound, a lo-fi sound, and then slapback. It has tap tempo. It allows you to adjust the time signature subdivisions of the repeats, and it has a modulation control, adding some wobbliness to the sound if you so desire. This brings us to the boosts and the EQ section of Walrus's inventory. They have a Voyager pedal, which is a preamp boost pedal that has gain, volume, and tone. They have the Emissary Parallel Boost. It's two boost signals that are working in parallel that you then mix together. One controls how much mids is in there that you're boosting, and the other one controls how much treble is in there that you're mixing. You adjust the frequencies and mix them together as you so choose. Last, we have the EB10, and that has bass, mid, and treble controls, but each one of those has a switch, which means you can either tell the knob to boost the signal, or you can tell it to cut the signal, and then the knob determines how much or how little you're boosting or cutting. Also, there's an extra switch on there that allows you to add 10 decibels of MOSFET boost, and you can program up to 3 presets. This brings us to the compressor section of their inventory. We have the Deep 6 compressor, which provides you with level, attack, which adjusts how quickly the compressor grabs the front of the note, sustain, and blend. The other compressor they offer is called the Mira optical compressor, which also has attack, which again chooses how quickly it grabs the front of the note, release, which determines how quickly it's going to stop compressing the signal, ratio, which is how much of your unaffected signal is getting blended into the compressed signal, and it also has a high pass filter, which prevents some of the lower bass frequencies from being as compressed as the higher frequencies. This brings us to the last section, which is most people's favorite section of pedals to talk about, overdrives and distortions. There's the Eons fuzz pedal, which has 5 different fuzz clipping options for you. Everything from silicon to fuzz to germanium. You can choose between any of those. It has a voltage control that takes you all the way up to, I believe, 18 volts for a really smooth sound, down to 3 volts for a sputtery, dying battery sound. On top of that, you can tweak the bass and the treble for any of those 5 settings that you choose between the LED, germanium, and silicon settings. Ages is an overdrive that Walrus produces that also has 5 different settings for how you want the signal to be clipped. It allows you to choose between things like LED, silicon, hard clipping, and soft clipping, and it also has a treble knob and an independent bass knob. The Eras is going to be your distortion pedal. It also has 5 different options for how you want the signal to be clipped. LED, silicon, hard clipping, soft clipping, independent bass and treble controls as well. This brings us to the Kangra fuzz filter pedal, which is an octave fuzz that also has an envelope filter function. The Jupiter is another fuzz option from Walrus Audio. It has 3 clipping options, and then internally you can do voltage adjustment. It also has 2 knobs for changing EQ. They're labeled tone and bass. This brings us to the Iron Horse, which is their take on the Rat circuit, but with an added knob that lets you shift between LED clipping and silicon clipping. And so you can kind of blend in there how you want the signal to be clipped. Lastly, in this section is the Warhorn, which is Walrus Audio's tube screamer style pedal, but with less mids, with an independent treble and bass control, and with a switch that allows you to take it from more of a tube screamer compression to a more open, quote unquote, transparent compressor setting. So out of all those pedals, what should I choose? I have 5 pedals that I can put on this pedal board. At least 2 of them need to be overdrives or gain stages, but they can't all be overdrives and gain stages. Please let me know in the comments below what pedal you would recommend. What do you have experience with, and how do you use that pedal, or how would you recommend using that pedal? If you have recommendations for all 5, let me know that too. Until next time, make every note count. Hey, I'm editing the video right now, and I'm starting to realize I probably should have set a budget for this project. I really hope everyone doesn't tell me that I just can't live without the Mako D1 or R1. Buying both of those plus 3 other pedals is going to be a big chunk of change. Oh man, I'm definitely going to have to buy some of these used. I'm definitely going to buy all these used. I really should have told my wife about this project.